Should art marketplaces have price filters? For those who do not ever jump into any art Twitter shenanigans, should VGen, one of the art marketplaces that a lot of VTubers use as well as like adjacent communities use, should there be price filters on the website? This question kind of popped up because someone was like, you know, screw this. Why doesn't this website have a price filter? I'm just gonna make my own filter. And then they made a browser-based add-on to filter the VGen website based off of price range as well as like sort by lowest first, highest first, blah, blah, blah. The developer of VGen, the reason why they didn't put in price filters in the first place was because of the bad apples, bad actors in the system, where if you put price filters on, then you can easily cheat the system. You can price everything as 99 cents and then add on everything. When you click on to their listing and then you start punching in like what you want exactly, then your total price at the end is not 99 cents, but maybe $9,000. The other thing is like the race to the bottom issue. And I don't know, man. I don't think this is as big of an issue as I think about it as someone who has commissioned and has sold on these marketplaces, art marketplaces, right? The one other thing that people are concerned about, in addition to the race to the bottom, people are gonna be like, oh, so you're gonna place the worth of art to a certain price tag. Hold your horses on that. Hold your horses on that. Now you are searching a website to find something of a particular price and not because you like the art. That was one other big point that people mentioned, and I was like, hold on a minute. Because everyone's just gonna straight up look for the cheapest thing. Like, I either have to lower my prices so that I could fight alongside these people, or I'm just gonna, you know, stay there and do nothing, right? Like, I'm just gonna keep my prices the same, but no one will come to me anymore. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Don't we all have a budget when we're buying art? At least I don't know of anyone in my circle of people that I've met where they're like, unless you are a really famous artist, like a dream artist, for example, right? You're gonna be like, I'll pay whatever amount of money you want me to pay you and I will do it. I will like scrape every single piggy bank, the bottom of it, break it, chuck it out the window, but then run out the window so I can grab all the money that I broke onto the ground. I don't think this is gonna be as big of an issue as a lot of people talk about it. And I guess there is like a debate of whether or not like what's the best way to implement a price filtering system. But if you think about it, all these other marketplaces, they all have. Skeb has a price filter. Fiverr, LMAO. It's a detriment to the user experience for people who are buying with it. Either way, it's gonna be pretty bad, but like, for me, I'm really user-oriented. Well, there's two types of users, I guess, for VGen, right? You have the artists as a user, as an end user for the product, as well as the people buying the art as an end user for the product. There's two very separate, like different categories of users. Imagine it's gonna be like browsing local use stuff online service. That's my association. For me, actually, when I used Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, I didn't find it particularly difficult to find exactly what I want for like a reasonable price, even though people, I do notice people are gonna be like free, and then in the description they're like, not free, $100, $200. But like, is that much different than right now where the situation is you have to click on every single listing in order to find out what the price is for that listing, realize that it is not within your budget whatsoever, and then click away. How many people are gonna be converted saying like, oh, this is gonna be out of budget, but I want this art right now and I'm gonna buy it right now, right? So I do acknowledge that this is a very tricky and complex problem. It is a UX problem here. It's something super fun because it's like right up my alleyway of things like problems that I love solving for. However, I'm pro adding a price filter. For me, it's gonna save a lot of time of like, if I know roughly what the price range I'm looking for a certain project, I'm not gonna buy anything super cheap. Like if I see something that's like $10, if I'm expecting like a full body artwork, for example, non-commercial, just personal use, full body artwork. Right now in my head, I'm like thinking, okay, maybe $100 USD to maybe $300 USD, depending on the quality that I perceive the art to be, as well as how much experience that the artist has versus like how much complex my design is, blah, blah, blah. That's roughly the range I'm expecting. If someone says like, I'll do it for $5, for me, the scam red flags are just like ringing in my head. The alarm bells are sounding off. But I'm also a more veteran person in the space, so I do know what things to look out for and what things to double check on and things. That's why I make a lot of videos on this, because I don't want anyone to be scammed, but I also want, on the other side, I want artists to be able to find the right client. There's a lot of confounding variables as well. If you think about it, are you an artist that is only using VGen and hoping that you just put your listings on VGen, you hope that clients would come in? VGen has a terrible discovery. If you are a brand new artist, you don't even show up on their discovery feed yet, right? You have to apply for verified status, and then you will be placed into the subtle algorithm that they have. A lot of people have talked about how this algorithm only shows you 5-star reviewed pieces of artworks and listings. So if you have one miscommunication during your commission process and someone rates you something below a 5-star, then you're automatically off of the entire page. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to just solely rely on one place to expect people will come to you. This is the same thing for YouTube videos and stuff, right? I should do better in my marketing outside. I mean, I would love to get more commissions and stuff, but like the pace hasn't been too bad with very minimal marketing for me. Most of it, I believe it's like word of mouth. So thank you. Yeah, the problem with the Uber model is not everyone around the world rates things out of 5 stars. That's why Tabelog, when you visit Japan and then you see Tabelog ratings for all the restaurants, they're usually around 3 stars. But the issue is like the rubric has to be pretty clear and concise, right? And that's the problem with reviews overall, because it's very hard to be not personal about the reviews. Like my 3-star might not be the same as your 3-star, even though we're following the same rubric, right? Still, VGen has implemented this star rating system, right? There is so much like contention about that. Why is the price filter such a difficult decision to add on? I'm not their product developer, but like the things that go in my mind are pretty much some factors and things that I believe they do have discussions on. It's not like they don't. Bare minimum, there should be a price filter. How you want to sort the price filter is another discussion, right? Race to the bottom really shouldn't need to be an issue. It should be a non-issue. Educated artists who understand how these marketplaces work. It's not like you will suddenly get a boom of people. Oftentimes, I find it is inexperienced artists who will lower their prices, keep lowering it until finally they get 100 commission requests. By that time, you're just like going to get burnt out very easily, because who wants to do $5 for a full body artwork for 100 people, right? Like if you have 100 people lining up, you should raise your prices. By that point, it's too late. And then you'll see sometimes on Twitter, people will be like, sorry for my 50 people on the wait list. I think I'm going to raise my prices now. There's just too many projects that I need to work on. And then people leave, right? That's the wrong type of audience. That's the wrong type of buyer that you want. Honestly, because at that point, yeah, of course, they only think about price at that point, right? People keep saying like, oh, art is a luxury. Yes, art is a luxury. But then they add on, since art is a luxury, you shouldn't really be thinking about price. I'm like, no. At this point, it's like, okay, food to a certain extent is a luxury. Like if I go out and eat a large A5 Wagyu steak, right? That's a luxury. I would still want to be price conscious about like how much this Wagyu steak is gonna cost. I'm not just gonna be like willy-nilly. I'm gonna spend my entire year's life savings on the steak, because that would be a huge mistake. Anyways, for me, I think art marketplaces should have price filters. It goes both ways. As an artist, you hopefully have some expectations of what your art could possibly be worth. For example, my music covers, I still think I'm undercharging, but this is like, at this point, I'm not having like 50 billion people line up for them at a certain time. So I think this is a reasonable price for me. But I will kind of limit the amount of work and effort that I put into it according to the price that is paid. That's why I have a scab version, which is slightly cheaper, but then I also have rules and stuff for the semi-complex. It's not fully complex where I'm using my entire brain energies, because that would easily be like a 400, 500 base starting point. For me, the amount of time I put into it is roughly okay, acceptable at this point. Of course, I would love to raise it. That's why Rush commissions are always the best, because those are technically closer to the worth of the music videos. But that's from my experience. It's not like VGen has a price filter where I make these decisions already. But for example, once they do have a price filter enabled as an artist, if you still keep your prices the same, like if you put $100, for example, for a chibi, then people who have expectations of what like $100 chibi would be worth will be looking like, once the filters are in place, you'll have a more defined number of buyers that are looking at your art at that point. So it does get a little bit tricky, but I think for the user experience, it is better. Like, why would I spend hours scrolling? Oh, someone mentioned lazy scroll too. I hate lazy scroll designs in general. That could potentially be another topic for another day. Like, you have no price filters and you have lazy scroll on VGen. At some point, if you keep scrolling down and searching for new people, and then bam, your computer freezes, or like bam, your internet dies and the page freezes, blah blah blah, then you have to start from scratch again, and then there's no way to filter out everything that you've seen. It's a complex topic. That's what I'm gonna leave it at. I still have a lot of open thoughts, but rule of thumb, when I should have more of an opinion, that's like, I try to list out as much of the facts out as possible, but at the end of the day, I still have my own opinion on this.